How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Marvel Snap video. We have probably the biggest OTA we've ever had coming to the game today. I believe it just hit this morning, and Sega Dinner is hitting bounce pretty hard. I'm just going to skim over all of the changes, give you my quick thoughts on them, make this a pretty quick video, but there's some pretty big ones here. The first change is Kitty Pryde is going from a 1-0 with +2 every time she returns to a 1-2 with +1 on return. So this means with Kitty, if you played her 5 turns in the old system, you would have her at 10 power, and now I believe she'll be at 7 power, which is pretty significant. They think that Kitty is the best deck in all of bounce decks. I agree with them. She does need a nerf, but I'm a little bit disappointed. I've had a lot of fun with Kitty in and out of bounce decks, but it's a pretty necessary change. So first up, Kitty Pryde. Second on the list to get hit is HitMonkey, and he's going from a 2-0 to a 3-2. He's still maintaining his +2 power for each other card that you played this turn, but he's going to a 3-2. So a little bit harder to play him, a little bit harder on turn 6 to dump as many cards as you previously could. Even if you have Sarah out, he's still a 2 cost, which is pretty significant in 6 mana. So you're not going to be able to drop as many cards as you were able to before. In exchange, he does get the 2 extra power. So instead of being the 2-0, he's the 3-2. So it kind of makes up for one of those extra slots that you're missing, but it is a pretty significant nerf. The next nerf, everyone's been calling for this one. SpiderHam is changing from a 1-1 to a 2-2. You're still going to be able to see what card it hits, so it still has a pretty significant advantage, but from a 1-1 to a 2-2 is a pretty significant nerf. You now have to pay 2 mana to get that effect instead of just 1, and so it's a little bit harder to slot him into bounce decks or just kind of decks in general. Before, you could just throw him in as a 1-1 into pretty much any deck. Now, taking up a 2 slot, you have to think about it a little bit more. I still think he's pretty strong. I think he's going to be used pretty heavily still. But I do like the direction they're kind of going. I think they need to change it so you don't see what card it hits. I don't know if that'll make him useless, but the information is kind of the big problem with SpiderHam. Next up, they are changing this card on the month that it came out. Phoenix Force, instead of being a 5-6, it's going to be a 4-5, which is a pretty significant buff. The reason why this is so significant is if you're hitting multiple men or Human Torch with Phoenix Force, you now get an extra turn to move it. So you can play it a 4-5. On turn 4, you can move it once, you can get the copy of multiple men, you can move it again on turn 6, another copy. It just gives a lot more power. With Human Torch, you can double it once and then again double it. You may even, I don't know if it's quite possible, but you could move it twice, skip your turn 5, and then look to play like a Taskmaster, She-Hulk or something on turn 6, and you'll get a pretty big Taskmaster out of it. With the Human Torch line, it kind of removes the need for Shuri in the deck, because you won't be playing Shuri on 4. You can play Phoenix Force on 4 and still get the doubling effect on the next turn. Next up is Ghost Spider. Instead of being a 2-3, it's going to be a 1-2 with the same effect. This also is huge, used with Phoenix Force. If you are playing Shuri, you'll be able to play Shuri on 4, Phoenix Force on 5, along with Ghost Spider to move the Phoenix Force right away on 5. This also makes Ghost Spider kind of fill in that utility 1-drop slot, so she's going to be able to fit into more decks other than just move, and kind of let you surprise your opponent with playing a card on turn 5 and maybe moving it on turn 6 while playing another 5-drop. That gives her a little bit more utility and a little bit more flexibility, and it keeps her from being so one-dimensional. Next major change, Living Tribunal is going from a 6-6 to a 6-9. So essentially 1 power extra at each location. I don't know if this is going to make him playable still, but I do like that they're buffing him. I opened him, I think last week or something. I have yet to try him. Wasn't excited. If you guys listened to the Snap Judgments podcast back when we talked about this a month ago or something, I thought this card was terrible. I thought it was garbage. I was not looking forward to it when it came out. And sure enough, it came out and it was just that. So I'm happy that they're buffing it. I'm looking forward to maybe trying some decks with him in there, but still, I don't think it's powerful enough. And the last buff, Magic is going from a 5-3 to a 3-2. For those of you who have been with me and have watched my channel for the last few months, you know I used to play this dirty Magic list. It's not as effective right now, because of how slow Magic is, and changing to a 3-2 might open up some opportunities in there. I know that they're looking to change Magic to be playable on turn 6. However, she doesn't get the on reveal ability. But this is just a quick change to let her be the 3 cost, and I'm super excited for this one. I don't know if people are gonna play her with like Surfer lists or anything like that. It could give Surfer lists an extra turn and let you kind of go off a little bit more. Is it worth it with Surfer lists? I'm not sure, because again, you're also giving your opponent an extra turn, but I do like Magic getting changed to a 3-2 because while still slow in terms of tempo, it's giving up your turn 3 rather than a turn 5. Turn 5 is normally pretty huge for most decks, and sacrificing that to add an extra turn just was too slow in today's meta. So I'm happy that this change is happening. And lastly, this isn't a change to any cards, but the Great Web is going to be appearing less frequently. I hate that location, so I'm happy that it's appearing less frequently. I don't really have much else to say about that, but I'm glad that they're making these kinds of changes. And that's it for the OTA changes. Those are my thoughts on it. I try to go over all of them when they come out, so if you don't want to miss out on that, consider subscribing. And as usual, if you love all things Marvel Snap, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell. I'll see you in the next one.